going to convince your people to allow Americans to go on the flight?
We are going to get there first, and you have the knowledge to make the trip work.
I'm going on the flight.
How far away is Jupiter?
Far.
Mommy said you're going to be asleep for a long time. Are you going to die?
Dr. Floyd. Dr. Floyd. Dr. Arloff has encountered some strange data coming from Europa. I will send Max down with a pod.
I wouldn't do that.
Oh, really?
You want to send a pod down there, send it unmanned. Hey, a piece of pie. Cake. Piece of cake. Cake, yeah. If this date is correct, then there's something down there. It is correct. It was organic. There was life. Is it moving? Yes.
It's incredible.
Listen for a minute. We've got to get out of here.
I can't just order us to leave here for no reason.
Forget reason. There's no time to be reasonable. Can't find him. Are you sure you're making the right decision? I think we should stop. You see, something's going to happen. What? Something wonderful.
And welcome to a new episode of the Movie Dawgs Show. I have been wanting to do this for quite some time. I love this film. This is one of my favorite films to come out of the 80s. It is the sequel to Stanley Kubrick's legendary 2001 A Space Odyssey, which, God, I'm not mistaken, came out in correct me if I'm wrong, 68, 69. I can't stress enough how great this film is. It's a forgotten sequel, actually, folks. A lot of people will do remember that 2001 had a sequel to it, and the fact that it even had even though the 2001's a book, people forget about that as well. It's just, this film is a lot different. It's structured and it was made different purposely, because when Peter Hain, who directed this film, he produced, shot. He was the director of photography. He was the writer. He was the director. He had the whole full control, especially just like Stanley Kubrick did. And it was a sequel to the novel, 2010 Odyssey 2, and film stars Roy Schreider, who's replacing William Sylvester, who played the character Floyd in that movie. He was a gentleman that was on the space station, and you heard the song. The little ballerina song, that's what I call it. But also starred the amazing John Lithgow and the beautiful Helen Merrill, who still to this day is one of the most stunning women in the world. It was released back in 1984, December 7th of 1984. The budget was $28 million, and it grossed about, in North America, $40.4 million. So it had a pretty decent little run. Again, I got to see it on VHS. I rented it right away after I finally saw 2001 as a kid, and as I said at the beginning, there's a lot of difference between this film and 2001. 2001, half the film hardly had any dialogue because most of it was evolving around apes, and then mostly what a lot of people would probably consider glory shots, because it back in the time that 2001 came out, it was very unheard of to take a science fiction movie serious, and the effects were always cheesy in a sci-fi film. But with Kubrick's imagination and eye for the camera, and his creative mystique, he was able to really revolutionize and make it profitable to make a science fiction film. And then, of course, about almost a decade later, Star Wars comes out, which was probably one of the reasons, why 2010 was a little more or less, didn't drag on as like 2001 did. But 2010, the year we made contact, it had a great ensemble cast. I've already told you who most of the actors that were in this movie, but it was just a very character driven. Most of it, really was pushed by Roy Schreider's narrations, and basically would be the narrations were done as he was sending messages to his wife and child, but which worked very well. And Roy Schreider was really good in this film. He always had that good vibe to him and everything. When you watch a movie, you really enjoy, no matter what character he's playing. It's just like you enjoyed, Roy Schreider. Roy Schreider would have been that really cool uncle that you had, or he kind of resembled my dad. My dad resembled him. So, I got that feel. That's why I always loved watching Roy Schreider in any movies, whether it was Jaws or the 7-Ups or the French Connection and Blue Thunder. So it was just great. And Peter, and when it comes to the director of Peter Hames, he was just a really good director. He did one of my favorite movies from the 80s was Running Scared with Gregory Hines and Billy Crystal, which was a buddy cop movie, action thriller comedy that was really good. And Hames got the blessing from Kubrick, because Kubrick, no way in hell Kubrick was going to go back and repeat himself. He wasn't that type of guy. He wasn't into making sequels or anything like that. David Scher did the original score, and he did something really good when it came to the score. And that was like every time that you were in space, which by the way, the special effects was amazing in this film. But when you were in space, you would hear whale songs while you're in space, which really would, at first you'll think, well, that's a whale singing. And why is it that? Well, that's just, we look at space the way we also look at the ocean, and so it was very. It just made more comfort in while you're in the vacuum of space and being up against the planet Jupiter. And again, the special effects. There's this one scene called air braking. That was, I have to say, it is actually something that they really worked on when a concept that they were working on that they used for satellites to have it get close into the orbit of a planet, and they used the orbit of the planet to slingshot that vehicle across, without having to use a lot of fuel and everything. So it was a method that they were using. It was called braking maneuvers, what they call it here in the movie. And they finally, the end of it, the Russian satellite or the Russian ship that was going to find or check out what was going on with Discovery, and check out about the mysterious monolith that has been plaguing mankind and for about 9 years prior to the film. This mysterious black giant monolith had showed up at the end of 2001, and of course Dave Bowman, the character from the first film, disappears. So everybody presumes him dead. But I'm not going to go into too much detail about the film, because I want you guys to watch and really, and of course, watch 2001, so you can understand that when it comes to the character Bowman. But the real thing that surprised me is like the character Hal, which was was considered as the antagonist of the original film. He was considered like, you know, he's in, I think, one of the top 100 movie villains of all time. That character got to redeem itself in this film, where towards the end, where everybody's trying to run off, and before Jupiter starts to implode and blows up into a star, which is really what had been the whole plan for this monolith, or whatever this spatial spiritual anomaly is, which they never really got into. I don't know if Arthur C. Clarke wrote, like, I think 3 or 4 more books in the Odyssey saga, so I do think that they probably eventually made sense of what was going on before Arthur C. Clarke died, and he was able to get his story told. But again, that when it comes to that scene is really cool looking, and the fact that Hal got to really get to redeem himself and become the hero that you know, it's a really good, great little reversal of a character's arc, and shows that, you know, they took a computer and they basically, you know, gave him a story arc, and he was able to grow. Now, I know his character, the character of Hal, is again showcased in the second book, or the third book, I'm sorry, 2061, which came out a few years after the Arthur C. Clarke wrote 2010. But again, you know, the mysterious little message that was being given, that all the worlds around the new Jupiter sun was for everybody except the planet Io, which apparently the monolith beings, or whatever you want to call them, have plans for that planet, which I do think in future books do tend to elaborate more on. But again, it's a really, really cool movie, and I can't express. I mean, there's so much. You have to watch it to really understand it, and trust me, as I said, a lot of people. 2001 is a masterpiece. It is a wonderful piece of art. It's basically an art film wrapped around the science fiction motif. But 2010, it's a very character-driven and a straight-out story arc that really gives some explanations, but doesn't give explanations to the whole story. Because I'm sure they were eventually going to, want to make more movies in the Odyssey saga. So, but it was, I said, the soundtrack was wonderful. Of course, you know, they still used the song 2001 theme in the movie as well, the beginning and the end. They bookend it, but the original soundtrack itself by David Shire is really good. Again, you know, it debuted at number 2 in the box office, behind Beverly Hills Cop, which was the moneymaker of that year, or that and Ghostbusters. So, but it had faced a lot of competition, because Starman that year, John Carpenter's Starman, had come out, and David Lynch's Dune, when it came to more sci-fi movies. But yeah, you know, there was, you know, it was just you know, I have to say, again, check this movie out. This movie is worth the watch, and I hate the fact that a lot of people don't remember that it was around, or even know that it's around. And it was given positive reviews. I mean, if you care about what on Rotten Tomatoes, it's got a 66% fresh, and you know, Roger Ebert gave it 3 stars out of 4. It's, you know, back in the day, and it's really worth checking out, folks. Again. You know, check it out wherever you can, if you can find it on a DVD or hell VHS, or if you can find it on any type of streaming service. Check this film out, folks. Alright, folks. Well, that is about as quick as a bite I can make it when I talk about this film. Again, like, subscribe, hit that thumbs up. Folks, if you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe and the notifications. Get all updates on any future videos that this channel has to offer. Check out all my other videos as well, especially here on the Movie Dawgs playlist. Again, folks, check out 2001, the year we make contact. And tell me what you think, folks. Do you feel it as a much better film as in 2001 Space Odyssey? It's everybody's opened up to... Everybody's allowed to have an open mind on this channel, folks. Alright, folks. Well, that's been it. This has been the Movie Dog Show. Thanks again for watching. And please keep on watching, folks. Bye.